Ashaya passed away on December 3rd, 2024, just about 11 years after we adopted her. We found out in August of 2024 that she had a large mass on her liver, probably cancerous. And this is going to be a remembrance video of all the good times and good things about Ashaya. I always meant to include her more and more in the videos on this channel, and I really did not do a very good job of that, but a lot of that was just the difficulty in finding time to put the videos together at all. And also just working with an animal on camera is quite a challenge. Ashaya was full grown when we adopted her from Animal Humane. We weren't really quite sure how old she was, but we knew she was quite young. She had been rescued. She'd been picked up off the street. They had named her Saphira, but we changed her name to Ashaya, as my wife and I were playing a lot of Magic the Gathering at that point, and we just liked the sound of that name. Ashaya had already been adopted once and returned to the shelter. The family that adopted her had another dog already, and she fought with that dog, and so she was returned. They emphasized to us that she was probably a dog that would do better in a household with just herself, no other dogs. That was fine with us. We knew the responsibility of even just one dog was quite a bit, and so that was great. When we first met her, she was very shy. She wasn't even very treat motivated. She just kind of sniffed us and explored around in the little meeting area, and we thought she was just lovely. Initially, she was very food and activity insecure. With food, she would gobble it up as fast as she could. At first, she even had some misbehavior. She took some food off of our kitchen table. We had a fruit bowl out, and we left the house at one point and came back, and her dog bed had a banana peel in it. She had somehow squeezed out the innards of the banana. She enjoyed that. It had an orange that had these hilarious vampire-looking bite marks in it. She decided that the orange was disagreeable and did not finish the orange, just left it. She'd also taken a tea saucer, a china tea saucer, off the table and carried it all the way across the house to her dog bed. Not sure why. I don't think it had anything spilled on it or anything, but we were very impressed with the delicacy there. She didn't do this when we were home. She knew she wasn't supposed to get on the table. Another time, we were dog sitting for some friends, and we decided to take her along with us to hang out with the other dogs. She was okay around other dogs for limited periods of time, and she would play with them. And, we checked it out and introduced the dogs, and they all played together. And anyway, my wife ran some errands, and I was just going to hang out with the dogs and get some work done. And so I propped up my laptop and started working, and the dogs were all just playing in the yard, so it was all fine. But I didn't notice that Ashaya snuck back in the doggy door at some point, and these other dogs, they just grazed. They had their food left out, and they would eat when they were hungry, and that was not what we did with Ashaya. And so I had fed them about, 2 or 3 days worth of dog food for these 3 dogs, and thought nothing of it. And my wife gets back, and then we're going to go, and she kind of is irritated, and she's like, hey, I asked you to feed the dogs while I was gone. And I was like, what are you talking about? I fed the dogs. And we looked over, and their bowls were empty. And Ashaya had eaten 3 dogs worth, multiple days worth of food, and then just gone back out into the yard to play, although very bloated. And so, there was nothing more we could do at that point. Between her intense interest in food and the amount she was exercising, we were feeding her a lot at first. I'm a runner, and I was taking her on 2 runs per day, not walks. We were running, and it was a minimum of like 2 miles each time. There was one time, I don't remember that I did it more than once, but I just thought I'd try and see if she could do it, where I went on a 5-mile loop with her at a really quite significant pace. She was very athletic, very strong, very fast, wanted to get out and run. And like I said, she was very insecure. Any opportunity to do some activity, she seized it, because she seemed to act like she didn't know when the next time she was going to get out would be. And so we were overfeeding her based on, appropriately feeding her, I think, based on that activity. But then as she got more acclimated and slowed down a little bit, she ate less and even skipped some meals. And then we got nervous and, asked the vet and told them how much we were feeding her. And it turned out to be way too much, like a cup or two more of food per day than they recommended. And so we reduced that. And then she ate all her meals. And so we were happy about that.
Hey, baby. Hey, baby.
But she was always very active, very strong, an amazing jumper. And she would jump our fence. She would see a roadrunner or a lizard or a cat in the neighborhood, and she would jump our fence. So a friend of mine and I, we raised the fence up. We added these wood slats onto the inside of the chain link and raised the fence up to at least 6 feet, maybe like 6.5 feet, something like that. And she just went to a different part of the yard that still had like a 6-foot fence, but it was chain link. And she leaped most of the way and just sort of scrambled up the rest of it and would just, roam about the neighborhood, chase the cats, go down to the end of the cul-de-sac where there were some other dogs in their yards and just run back and forth outside of their yard. And the dogs would, run with her and bark at her. And she would just be delighted to have all this attention. And be totally safe and protected on the other side of the fence from these dogs. She liked to tease other dogs, but not really interact with them too much, or at least not for too long. We also kept a much better eye on her once we realized that even raising the fence, it just wasn't enough, and just wasn't enough. She is a pit bull. She has a tail with very little fur on it, and would wag that thing ferociously. And it would hit the walls, would hit like corners, legs of chairs. And the poor thing, she would bloody this tail from just happiness, from just excitement and swinging it around. And oh my gosh, we would find all over our house. It was like somebody had taken a little paintbrush and dipped it in red paint and then just flicked it at all of our walls. She was not very pain motivated. This didn't observably bother her. We tried to wrap her tail in rags and rubber band these rags onto her tail. That of course didn't work at all. She would just shake it and it would fling off. We never really came up with a good solution for that one either. We just if we saw it happening, we would just kind of hold her tail in our hand and let it swing as much as allowable without smacking into hard corners.
Oh, that is messy, baby.
While she was a little bit mixed in her interactions with dogs, she always loved people. Anybody she met, she just loved people. And she would throw a considerable amount of charm at the newest person she had met. It seemed it'd always be the newest person, just whoever was the latest person, perhaps to even just enter the house. And she would just go over to them and lean on them and snuggle up to them if possible and just beg for their attention. And so one time we were having a house party with a bunch of friends, and so there was just constantly people sort of streaming in the door. So somebody would knock on the door and she'd run over and jump at them and try and get their attention. And the next person would knock on the door and she'd run over again and get their attention and get their pets. And then one person arrived, a friend of ours named Hamish, and Hamish is a super likable guy. Just everybody loves Hamish. You can't not. And Ashaya did her routine, and then other people arrived, and she didn't go to the door. She stayed with Hamish and was just attached to his side. And we were just like, wow, we knew everybody's friends with Hamish. Just everybody loves this guy. But apparently it extends to animals. He's like a Disney princess with just like the birds fluttering over to his arms, but with dogs. And she's just loving on him. And then out of nowhere, he goes, "Oh, I forgot. I brought you a housewarming present." And he pulls a wedge of cheese out of his pocket. He's been holding this wedge of cheese, and it was wrapped up in his pocket. So, that's what the dog was interested in. We thought it was some magnetism that Hamish had that extended to the animal world. But she did have more of a mixed relationship with other dogs. She would get kind of anxious in their presence and often try and boss them around, which, depending on the personality of the other dog, had, worked or didn't work. She got along great with, my in-laws have golden retrievers, and, golden retrievers are just friends with everyone. They've never met anyone or anything that they don't love. And they're also super submissive, typically. And so, when she's just trying to boss them around and they just submit, it was great. They wanted to play a little. Well, Max in particular wanted to play with her a little bit more. And she wasn't really into play with other dogs. But nonetheless, she would sometimes play and would at least tolerate that dog. But before they had Max, they had Bill. And I don't know quite what breed or what mutt mix Bill was. I'm not sure. Anyway, Bill was a big dog. Weighed, I think, almost twice as much as Ashaya. Maybe more even. And Ashaya didn't care, would harass Bill and try to keep him out of any rooms that humans were in. This was a big thing of Ashaya's. She didn't want other dogs interacting with humans in her presence. I mean, sometimes she would tolerate it, but generally speaking, this was something that she didn't like. And so she would, circle Bill, nip at his face a little bit, growl at him just a little bit. Try and tell him, you're in my territory, you're in my space, even in his house. And Bill, more than once, just got fed up with this. And the first time we saw this, it was amazing. Bill just grabs her head. Just grabs Ashaya's head in his mouth. Not her neck, her head. And held her there. And she's immediately just giving this back and forth eyes, like looking around. Like, you guys are seeing this. You're not going to do anything about this? I'm the victim here. After she's been trying to bully this dog the whole time. And Bill just held her in his mouth until she seemed to settle down a little bit, and then he let her go. He didn't even growl. He just held her head. After that, at least for the remainder of the visit, Shai was like, "Oh yeah, we're cool. We're friends. No big deal. This is my buddy Bill here. We're just good pals." And the next time she would maybe try and bully him a little bit, and he would just grab her head, and hold her there, and just kind of just be like, "I'm the boss here, and I'm gonna be nice, but you gotta be chill. You gotta be chill with me." And she would calm down, and then he'd just let her go. She was a real sweetie. She loved people. She loved tearing things up, but never tore up furniture. Even had a little bit, not entirely, but a little bit of a sense of like, this plushie is for you to tear apart, and this plushie is not. Never tore up like pillows or anything. It was really wonderful feature of her. But would tear up dog toys, would pull on rope. She loved to pull on rope. This is her favorite game. She really didn't do fetch or anything like that. She pulled on rope. We taught her a variety of tricks fairly easily, I'd say. There were a few that she didn't quite get. I mean, she always had trouble with stay. Stay was just really difficult for her. She would fixate on items of interest. And when she was interested, boy, she was all about that item. You could distract her pretty easily, though, with peanut butter. So if we needed her to just be ignoring something, repair people are in the house or whatever, peanut butter was perfect for that.
Spit. Spit. Good girl. Spit. Good girl. Oh, what a good little doggy. Oh, what a good little doggy. Ashaya. No, that's not it. Figure eight. Good girl. Figure eight. Good girl. Good girl. Sit. Good girl. Shake. Good girl. What a business doggy. What a business doggy. Catch it. Good girl. Catch it. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, jump. Good girl. That was very good. Sit. Jump. That wasn't the best. Sorry, that was my fault a little bit. Jump. Good girl. Jump. Good. Touch.
Good job, yes. Sit. Shake. Good girl. Touch. Yes, good girl. She did get skunked once. We were on a walk and she noticed the skunk before I did, and it was right beside the trail we were walking on. And she just ran to the end of her leash and lunged at it, and the skunk just sprayed her, not directly on the face, but kind of like half her face and her neck. And oh, it was just dreadful. And, you know, we just had to wash her over and over and over and over again, throw out her collar. Oh, it was just a waste, that collar. She did not learn her lesson. She always wanted to chase rabbits, roadrunners, little blue-tailed lizards, the cats in the neighborhood. Oh, she just wanted to chase them. And I think she really did. She just loved the chase. Oftentimes, once she got a cat to run away from her, she would continue with the walk. As long as it had run away, she was happy. She was ready to move on at that point. There was this orange cat in the neighborhood, this ginger cat who, of course, we stereotype the orange cats as the dumb ones, and I don't know if it was dumb or brave or some combination thereof. This cat would not run away from her. It just wouldn't. She would run to the end of her leash, even if she surprised the cat, got close to it, and bark right in its face. And this cat, maybe it was a genius cat. Maybe it understood humans and leashes, that I'm like holding my dog back. And this cat would not run away. And it was, I don't know, became this thing. And we would just say like, it's disrespectful, Ashaya. It's disrespectful. That cat won't run away from you. But we got to move on, move on with our walk. Might have to, pull her away and get her on the rest of the walk. Ashaya hated thunder, hated fireworks. This was the worst. New Year's Eve, 4th of July were just terrible for us. COVID, people let off their fireworks during COVID for months after July 4th. It was just awful. That was one of her dislikes. She hated the booming noises and would just be restless and be trying to escape this, be begging us to make it stop. She would come up to us, she would whine, and she would paw at us as if she wanted outside, or as if she wanted food, or as if she wanted anything. And we knew she wanted us to make the noise go away. And that was very sad for us, and we just couldn't. There was nothing we could do, and there was no way we could make her understand that was beyond the limit of our powers. Ashaya will be greatly missed. She was immensely loved, and I'd only had ever one other dog in my life. Just my dog growing up was a Labrador, black lab, chocolate lab mix. And I gotta admit, I didn't feel the same loss with that dog as when I lost Ashaya. She was a member of our family, and we'll probably get another dog at some point. That dog will not replace Ashaya. It will just be a different member of the family. There's nothing that could replace Ashaya. She will always be deeply loved. I have a bunch more footage, and I'm just making this video for myself and my wife, so I'm just going to have a bunch more clips of Ashaya play out for the rest of the video.
Good girl, Ashaya.
Ashaya. Ashaya, it's over here. It's over here. Ashaya.
Who's a good doggy? Okay.
Oh, Ashaya. You really make a mess of that game. Ashaya. Tippy, 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 tippy.
Did anyone ever call you beautiful?
Kwame.
Oh, yay. Oh, this little yay. Oh, this little yay. This little beauty. Beauty. Beauty.
Want. Stay. Dog. Ketchup. Well, that didn't work. All right. Spin. Good girl. Other way. Other way. Good girl. I can see why people don't make more pet movies, Ashaya. This is difficult. Dog. Ketchup. Dog. Ketchup. Good girl. Yes. Okay. Other way. Other way. No, Ashaya. Other way. All right. Okay.
A tappity tappity toopity, a bippity boppity boopity, a snuggly wuggly, duggly fuggly, doggly boggly boo. I love you. I love you.
Tears.
I love you. I love you.